Hi, I'm Judy.
And I'm Tamara.
Welcome to Balance Not Boring, the wellness podcast that's not about extremes or perfection.
Just real conversations on balancing your mind, body, and soul in our bustling city of Dubai.
So grab your tea and get comfy with us.
Oh, and fair warning, you will learn something.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Balance Not Boring. Judy here, one of the co-hosts. We miss Tamara so much, but she's still enjoying her maternity leave. So it's just me you have for today. And today we are covering something super exciting. It's actually in the realm of human design. And the episode title is called Your Tool to Elevate, Flow, and Thrive with Caline Malek. And I'm so excited to introduce her soon. So, just to remind you, if you're new here, we talk about all things mind, body, and soul, but always in a way that's relatable, digestible, and practical. Exclusive wellness is canceled, and we're here for inclusive wellness now. So, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify so that you never miss an episode. So personally, I came across my human design chart recently, and I'm almost 35. So this was about 6, 7 months ago, something like that. So very recent. And it actually blew my mind. I always believed in astrology and zodiacs, but it's this human design is just next level. It was like as if it was reading into my soul. So this is why me and Tamara thought it would be great to bring this on to the podcast because we felt like other people like you would love to learn about it because it's really a self-awareness tool. It's really helped me see why certain patterns in my life kept repeating and gave me tools to live more in the flow. So, without further ado, today's guest is the versatile Caline Malek, based between Lisbon and Dubai. Caline holds a BA in journalism from the London College of Communication, a master's in international relations from Regent's University, and a master's in Middle Eastern studies from the SOAS University, SOAS. Caline has spent over 15 years in journalism, working at places like CNN, The National, and Arab News, and highlighting regional issues and advocating for positive change. Transformative work with an energy healer, though, led her on a decade-long spiritual journey, exploring meditation, yoga, energy healing, hypnosis, and crystal healing. As a certified mindfulness coach and human design reader, Caline conducts global readings and coaching sessions to unlock individuals' potential. Caline, welcome. We're so excited to have you here. You're
Thank you for
amazing.
having me. So am I.
Yeah, of course. And she's coming to us from Portugal. So this is a first for us to have a virtual session. So we're so excited that we can do this with you. So we really want to highlight your journey because like other guests on the podcast and like Tamara and I, we've kind of shifted our paths a bit. So I also worked in corporate marketing, fashion marketing a lot of my life. And now I'm more in the wellness space and I have my own businesses. And like you started out in just pure journalism. And now you've added on another layer of doing
Mhm.
spirituality and mindfulness work.
Mhm.
So can you tell us how that awakening happened? Was it overnight or what caused this kind of shift in mentality in terms of what you want to work in?
Definitely. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. It's such a
Of
pleasure to be
course.
here with you. So in terms of it was, I wouldn't say it was overnight, although there was an event that happened that impacted me in a way that pushed me towards this path. And it was, 13 years ago when my mother passed away, and I realized that, she was holding on to a lot of emotions that were creating illnesses in her and led to her passing. And so I realized that, I was kind of headed in the same direction in a way. And I just told myself, okay, I don't want to end up, at 57 on a hospital bed. And basically it being the end of my life. And so what can I do? I mean, she even told me, do not follow my path. Like she realized it 2 weeks before her death. And so it was quite a powerful moment for me as a 27-year-old at the time. So I really told myself, what can you do to really become self-aware, So it took a few years to then develop, but I really believe that it just takes that thought and that intention to then snowball into something, and life conspires to help you when you want to help yourself. And
Wow.
so, yeah, 3 years later, I came across this energy healer who came into my life. And she's still my energy healer. I call her my energy therapist. And so I've been her client for the past 10 years, and she has helped me so much in terms of helping me to create my best life. And so that entailed, following my dharma, my purpose. And, journalism is still a part of my life as a freelancer. I still do these projects on the side, but this is definitely, helping people in the way that I do. It's definitely happened because I really followed what intrinsically was right for me, and she helped me a lot on that path. I really believe we all need help in this life, and so my help came in that form, and so the rest is history because it really just took the path it was meant to take.
Wow. And what caused you to take that in? Because obviously you've been so affected in a good way. How
Yeah.
did you say, okay, I want to help others now? Like now it's my calling to do this for others. Pay it forward,
Yeah,
if you will.
definitely. I mean, I think that because at 27, I lost my mom. 3 years later, I broke off an engagement. Few years later, I divorced. I went through a lot of things, and there are more things, but I'm not gonna list them all. And I know everyone goes through a lot of things in life. But I would say for me, I mean, I'm 40 today. And so this was, a while ago that it started. And I just realized at the time for me, this woman, her name is Joelle, the way that she came into my life, and really, I mean, I'm not going to say that someone is here to save you because only you can save yourself with your faith. But having someone to hold your hand as you go through that process was so primordial for me. And it was so it was life changing to know that you're not alone. And so, because I realized how important that was, not really having my parents around anymore, I wasn't very close to my father, and my mother passed away. My siblings and I were kind of thinking, just become an adult in a nanosecond, basically. And so she really became a bit like my spiritual mother and helped me a lot. And so I just thought to myself, if I can be that one person for someone else, then why not? Because I know how important that was for me. I am here today thanks to this help that I got.
That's beautiful. And the fact that you still work with her, I mean, I love that you've continued
Yeah,
this partnership. And
very
with
much.
every milestone and phase in life, you're going to
Yeah.
go through different things, different
Yes.
thoughts as you mature. But to
Hmm.
have that stable kind of anchor, I think
Hmm.
is so important because of how
Hmm.
fast paced everything is these days as
Yes.
well. And I want to know a little bit more because I know that you went into different kinds of modalities. Like you've learned about crystal healing, you're a
Yes.
mindfulness coach. How about human design? I mean, what's pulling you in the human design route more these days? Because I see that you
Mm.
focus a lot on that.
A lot. I think it's because I
Yes.
love it so much. I mean, I
Yeah.
love all the others, of course, but I just feel like today, I mean, of course, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of mindfulness coaches. There's a lot of coaches in general. And the world needs all these coaches, to be honest. I think there are more than enough people, and these people need different types of help. I think that every person interprets that help in their own way, and you all have a collective to help. So I feel like for me, I started off studying mindfulness, so being able to teach meditation courses because meditation helps me so much. And so that was my intro into it. And then I started learning about human design. A friend of mine at the time told me about it back in 2020. And that's when I dove into it and really learned about it and fell in love with it. Did a reading a bit with my teacher, and I was like, I'm in love, sign me up. I need to learn this absolutely right away.
Same, which is why
Right?
you're here. Yes. I'm
Exactly.
obsessed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
it's
amazing. And you start to see parallels and similarities between everything. Like I ended up studying crystal healing 2 summers ago, and I'm a certified crystal energy healer today. And, crystal healing is basically realigning people's chakras. And in human design, we also deal with the Hindu chakra system. So for me, I mean, it's about blending different things and, pinpointing, okay, can we talk from that modality? And if not, can we talk from this modality? Like what will speak to you, or how can I help you, like in a more holistic approach? You know
And
what
I
I
think
mean?
that's beautiful. I mean, life
Yeah.
is not black and white. There's so much beauty in
Yeah.
different religions, belief systems,
Yeah.
thoughts. Like that's what I like is picking apart things that relate to what feels good to me.
I
This is
agree.
like what I'm noticing in my 30s is that there's no right or wrong path,
Yeah.
but learning about them doesn't hurt. And so that's why like so let's define human design for somebody who has no idea what we're talking about. It sounds like mathematical, for example. What is it exactly in the mindfulness space?
Of course. So, I mean, I always say, I mean, there are so many different spiritual languages, and human design is one of them. But what I find is that I call it the first international spiritual language because it really speaks to a lot of people and because it blends so many ancient wisdom traditions. So, it blends astrology with the Hindu chakra system, with, the Kabbalah tree of life. You also have I Ching, which is, ancient Chinese mathematics that were used to better understand, human nature. You have quantum physics. So it's basically like a user manual for your energy. What it does is that it comes together and it's like this blend between science and spirituality, and it shows you how you are naturally designed to make decisions, to use your energy, to interact with the world. So it's not here to put you in a box, although it can seem like it in the beginning, but it's more like it's giving you a map of how you actually work best in this life so that your life feels a bit easier and more aligned. You know what I
And
mean?
that's really reassuring to like see some kind of blueprint for like, okay, this is the way I am, this is why I
Yeah.
should act this way, or I can act this way
Yeah,
and really get ahead. But for those skeptics, we need sometimes some data. Is there science integrated? Like where can we have some proof this isn't just
definitely.
kind of a placebo effect, for
No,
example?
definitely. I mean, although I do believe in like the power of the mind, I believe in it all, but human design is one of those things that actually sits right at the bridge between science and spirituality. So it draws from something that we call the neutrino field. And it's something that's a part of quantum physics that's real. It's a real thing in science. And it's basically like the idea that we're constantly influenced by energy around us, right? I mean, I will spare you the scientific details because it's very scientific, but it's how the stars affect us, how the energy from the stars affect us. But it is true, it has been proven by the Japanese in the 90s as a scientific, field, let's say. So
Okay.
even though, yeah, human design does have some mystical roots, it does also kind of reflect the fact that we are energetic beings ultimately, and we are living in a very physical and measurable universe. So that's essentially where it comes in, but there is science in it, definitely.
And I was doing some research. I think the audience would actually like this, but I would love to know the founder of human design.
Yes,
I
yes,
know it's an interesting story, it's unexpected,
yes.
and it's fairly recent that he founded it. Can you tell us a brief kind of update on that?
Well, actually, he was a Canadian businessman. Robert Krakauer was his name. He had nothing to do with this field, and he decided to go one day to Ibiza because he needed a break from burnout. And he ended up going to Ibiza, which at the time in the 80s was not what Ibiza is today. And, got a little shack and ended up, going with his dog and realized, oh, there's a light bulb that's not working. I'm going to go buy another light bulb and I'm going to come back. Ends up leaving. The shack was built on somewhat of a, I'm not going to say tectonic plate, but the soil underneath was kind of cracked, let's say. And so he leaves with his dog. There was somewhat apparently of a little earthquake that happened while he was gone. When he comes back, he sees the light in his shack is turned on. He opens the door and he's a bit perplexed. And then this energy basically floors his dog and is just like woof in his face. And he just hears a voice that tells him, "Are you ready to work?" And he just walks in, takes the dog with him, and for 8 days
I
and
love this
eight
dog.
nights, the dog is a key part of the story
Clearly. Yeah.
because this dog survived 8 days and 8 nights being floored, yeah, by this energy. It's crazy. That's the mystical side of it. So the dog's floored. Robert is sitting there hearing this voice that's telling him, "Are you ready to get to work?" And for 8 days and 8 nights, he is channeling, hearing, the human design system. Calling up all the people from the village of Ibiza, starts doing everyone's charts. Everyone's amazed. They start worshiping him, bringing him baskets of fruits and all of that popularity that he wasn't looking for. He got a bit overwhelmed, took everyone's charts, put them in his guitar, which was the only thing that he loved to do, and burnt everything, and then disappeared for a year to nurse himself back to life. And then there's this one lady that comes up to him and she's like, "I kept my chart, I didn't give it back to you." And so they basically reverse engineered 90% of it based on that chart. And then,
Wow.
yeah, accepted his fate and went on to teach it and around the world. So that's
That's
how,
amazing.
yeah, it was way ahead
Yes.
of its time.
Of course, especially
Yeah,
in that time. I mean,
yeah,
whether you believe this or it sounds woo-woo,
yes,
I seriously think it's such a good tool for you to learn about
yes,
yourself, your energy blueprint. How can you interact your energy with the world around you?
yes.
And that's the whole point is just to better thrive without feeling drained and pushed back. Like maybe you just understand yourself better after this whole episode, right? So
Exactly.
let's dive into the types. There's 5 types of human design. And
Yes.
I know that I'll obviously explain my understanding. Of course, let's let the experts say more. But based on your birth time, date, and location, you can fall into one of five. So there is some sense of astrology involved. There's
Yes.
generators, manifestors, manifesting generators, projectors, which is me,
Yeah.
and reflectors. So can you give us a quick summary of each type if you can, and just maybe
Yes.
share an example of how they can differ in everyday life?
Of course. So, generators, in a nutshell, I call them the builders. They've got this really steady energy, they've got this really steady thrive on this energy. And so, basically, what they do is that when they love what they're doing, it's contagious. It actually like spills out to other people. And so it's so, so important that they do what they love because then everyone starts to feel it. Okay. But the thing about generators is that they have one energetic pace, it's very effective, but they need time for it to reach its full potential. Right? So that's the generators. They can go morning to night. They don't stop unless they collapse or they sleep.
So they're
Okay.
like the Energizer bunnies, like go, go, go kind of mentality.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's a slow burn. Like it starts off a
Got
bit
it.
slow before they reach their full
Yes.
potential, right?
Okay. Yes.
Now, the manifestors, they're more, I would say, the energizer bunnies, but like I wouldn't say that they have sustainable energy because manifestors are what we call what I like to call the initiators. So they are here to start things, they're here to create momentum, but they work best when they inform people that they love what they're about to do instead of just running off and like leaving them. And that causes a lot of like trouble in their life. A lot of people don't really understand them very well. They're just 9% of the world's population. So a lot of times, they don't have sustainable energy. So they need to act on their surges, go off and do this,
Mm,
go and manifest anything you want to do, and then, rest when you need to. So that's the most important thing to know, inform people that you love about what you're going to do, then go off and do it. Okay. It's not
got it.
asking
Okay.
permission, it's just informing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the manifestors. Then the manifesting generators, which is what I am myself, is the hybrid of the manifester and the generator. And so, manifesting generators, we are these multi passionate doers. We move very fast because we have the energy of the manifester. So, we go from 0 to 100 in like 4 seconds. But,
I'm so envious of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
We all have
I'm
a
so not.
purpose.
Yes,
No,
yes,
no, we all
yes.
have a purpose. Trust me, I love
Yeah.
projectors. I have a very soft spot for projectors. Yes, we are the fastest energy type because we have the quick energy of the manifester, but we also have the sustainable energy from the generator. So we
Got
can
it.
keep going on. So we move fast. We love variety. We get bored very easily. And we need freedom to pivot. We like this, we continue, we can drop it in the middle and move on to the next thing, which generators can find a bit difficult to do. They usually have to see things to their completions. Manifesting generators, sorry, they don't have
Mm.
to. Okay.
Oh, interesting. So they're more flexible and like, okay, if I don't like
Yes.
this, I'm gonna stop and come back later, that kind of
Exactly.
thing.
Don't even
Or
have to
quit
come back later
altogether.
if I
Yeah.
don't, exactly. I don't even have to come back to it if I don't want to.
Okay.
That's part of how they go about finding what, their purpose and their path in life. Projectors, which is you are, the quintessential guides of the world. And so you're about 20% of the world's population. You're not here to generate constant energy like generators and manifesting generators. You are here to direct that energy. You see what I mean? So the best thing, the three-step process for projectors is because you can see into life much better than 80% of the world.
I am very intuitive. I really,
You
but see, that's
are.
what I'm saying.
You're a
We're gonna
visionary.
go through the
Of
chart.
course,
I'll talk
of
to you.
course, of
Yes.
course. The key is I will always tell projectors, don't offer unsolicited advice if it's not asked. Do not jump and blurt it out because it will almost always backfire if you do that. You do best when you are invited to help, and then you're going to be recognized for it. And that's when your nature chimes. You see, it's when someone recognizes your wisdom, but they will not recognize your wisdom if you're just telling them what to do without them asking first. I think it's important to know this for projectors and also to know that you also don't have sustainable energy. So to rest, to nap, these are very, very healthy things to do. Like working 3 hours a day is actually ideal for projectors.
Oh, I love
So,
that. I mean, I need to
yes.
incorporate that more in my life, but
Yes,
yes,
if
I
you
could
can,
see.
yes. And then we have reflectors, which is the rarest type. So they're, less than 1% of the world's population. They're actually like the mirrors. So they reflect the health of their environment. And they really need time, like a full, 28-day lunar cycle before they take big decisions. They need to spend a lot of time alone. They even see colors differently. Like that's how unique like they are. I mean, we're all unique, but they're quite rare in that sense. So yeah, but they're incredible mirrors when they're aligned and they're not conditioned because they can really show you exactly where you are at in your life at that very moment. So, every
Yeah.
type
I've
has its
never,
own
so
rhythm
like,
and its own gift in that sense.
let's say I'm a reflector, just to
Yeah.
understand that
Yeah.
if I'm in front of you and let's say you're having a bad day, like you're feeling
You will,
frustrated,
yes.
I will
If you're
act the
not
same back.
conditioned, no, you can
Yes.
show it to me. You can show it to me. So you can
Mm.
tell me, like, I sense that this is happening. Is this how you're feeling? Like, I always use the example of my cousin who's a reflector. And my teacher used to always tell me, like, once a month, sit with a reflector and you will see yourself. I mean, I would see her obviously because I love her, but also I would see her and I would get this feedback, of like, because basically, and you'll see in the chart later on, all the geometrical shapes that people will see in the chart for a reflector, they're all white. And what this means is that they are prone to absorbing people's thoughts, emotions, pressures, needs, fears, energy, everything. So if
Wow.
it's tough, that's why they need to spend
Yes.
time alone. But if they are in alignment with themselves, they are able to mirror everyone in all of these fields.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
that leads me to my next point because I'm not going to lie, just from my own experience,
yeah.
which is why I'm talking about myself. But I do feel like I'm a mix of reflector and projector in terms of how my
Mhm.
personality is. Is it possible to be a blend, or you're going to be this or that?
No, now I do feel, and this is a personal belief, I think that if your time is very close to when it shifts into another energy type, you could feel it. This is a personal belief. I really believe that. It's a bit like if you look at astrology and you're on the cusp of a sign,
Yes.
then you will
Hmm.
tend to feel a bit of both. So definitely, I do believe in that. But in terms of can you like change it? You can't change it in that sense.
Yes.
Like because
Yeah.
it's based
Yeah.
on your birth time, right? So it's a bit
Yes.
like your energetic DNA.
So that's actually an exciting segue because now that we've kind of went up through the five different types, we
Yeah.
have an actual live chart of
Yes.
my chart because that's the only one I feel comfortable showing on the screen. So I want, Kanine, whatever you're comfortable with, if
Of
we can
course.
go through and describe, because I would love for the listeners to understand, once they see their chart, how can they go through it and take away those important factors that will help them, like as a self-awareness tool, to thrive in life better. So I guess we can go
100%.
through the major ones that you think are
Yeah.
important.
100%. I mean, I usually say like the energy type, the authority, how to take your best decision,
Yes.
and your profile are the most important. You won't necessarily see it on the chart, but I can tell you a few things from the chart. So,
Yeah, like practical
yeah,
applications of like what that would
exactly.
mean. Yes,
I'll
because if
discuss
you
a
look at
bit
a
of
chart,
both that way.
it
Yeah.
looks very
Yeah.
very engineered like. So
Yeah,
that's why we need
100%.
somebody to read through. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
exactly.
definitely. So I would say, okay, so all the geometrical shapes that you see, these are all your energetic centers. These are all your chakras. Okay, and so the very top one, the triangle at the top of your head, that's your crown. That's your source of inspiration. When you have it white, that means you're open to all sorts of inspirations that pop into your head at any time, right? If you look at the triangle upside down right underneath it, that's the mind, the third eye that's located in front of
Hmm.
the brain, right? And so yours is colored in, which means that you are someone who thinks a lot. You think
How
a
did you
lot.
know?
Yeah, you were born this way.
It literally, finally, there's a reason. Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly. And I think that, understanding the reason makes you accept it. Like when
That's
you know that
it.
you were born this way, for me at least, it makes me just accept it even more.
Yes,
Yeah.
you just have more forgiving mentality around
Yes.
like, oh, this is just
More
how I am. Like,
compassion.
there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just born this way.
Exactly, exactly. And what human
Yeah.
design is so basically it teaches you what's been conditioning in your life and what's your nature. And what this does is that we look then at how to balance it so that it doesn't fall into the extreme. You see what I mean? Of completely overthinking and anxiety. It's here to serve you, but within a balance. You see what I mean? So that's the upside down triangle. And then if you go down to the square right underneath it, that's your throat, center of creation, center of manifestation. Everyone's manifestation in this world goes through the throat. And so yours is colored in. You know what you want to say. You know how you want to say it, right? You have a direct connection to your mind. So you tend to speak your mind.
Yeah, I'm very blunt. That's exactly. I didn't
Yes.
know this, so this is
Yeah.
interesting. I am blunt though. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
100%. Yes, exactly, And so then, of course, all the numbers that are in the centers, like if you just look at the number 8 that's in the throat, these are gates of truth. They correspond to the DNA of your nature. So gate number 8 is the gate of contribution. So you'll be someone who'll be like, how can I help? Can I help. You know what I mean? Very like, I want to contribute to a cause, to a mission in some shape or form, you know? And so it'll come through your voice because it's in the throat. So
Mm.
then you go to the diamond right underneath, which is the identity center. Yours is colored in. You know who you are. You know where you're headed. Maybe finding your way, but you know, they always say forget about the how, just focus on, you know, that vision of where you're headed, you know?
Yes.
And then your number one is your very, very creative person. Gate one is the gate of creativity. So whatever you
Yes.
love to do, it doesn't mean necessarily I have to be a painter. It just means
That's
that
it. I was
whatever,
like,
yeah.
Caline, I
A
am
lot of
not a
people say
painter.
that. No, 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 no. I have it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's that
No.
in whatever you do it in a creative way. You see what I mean? It's
Yeah.
more the act
I do
itself.
like that. I mean, I
Yeah.
love writing stories and storytelling.
Your number
Mm.
46, the gate of serendipity, means you really need to take care of your physical body to feel good. Anything that
Oh,
pampers your physical body, whether it's the gym or the spa, whatever you like, don't be conditioned into not doing it. Because a lot of people with that gate are like, oh no, I shouldn't go get a massage. Yes, you do. If that's what you want, do it. And then when you go to the square right underneath it, that's white, that's your sacral. That's what differentiates people who have the sustainable energy and the energy types that don't. Because you're a projector, yours is white. That means that you could burn out if you try to keep up with 80% of the world, right? Well, not 80% technically, let's say 70, because it's just manifesting generators and generators, but they make up 70%, which is most of the world. And so it's about honoring your nature, retreat when you need to. You know what I mean?
1000%. Yes. I get drained very
Exactly.
easily. Yeah. This is why
Exactly.
I like to be social. Then I need to recharge. Like
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
continue going. Like I need to rest somewhere.
100%. Exactly.
Yes.
And then if you
Yeah.
look at the tiny triangle, the tiniest one in the chart, yours is also white, undefined, we call it when it's white. And so when it's undefined, this is your willpower center, your heart, your ego related to money, power, prestige. When it's undefined, this means that it's very important. You have nothing to prove in this life and you have to live your life this way. Don't try to compete with others. That's the ego. If you're trying to like prove something, that's the ego. So, you know, I always tell people being aware is more than half the job done because the awareness catches it and then you can consciously move away from the ego. You see what I mean? That's what it's all
1000%.
about. Exactly.
I noticed in life when I try to chase things or work from the
Yeah, yeah.
ego and be competitive, it's
The
just not
ego
my
is
nature
loud.
because it doesn't work. And also, I know that
Exactly.
my strategy is being invited, which you'll tell me.
Yes,
So I do notice
exactly.
that I can't keep forcing and chasing to prove something.
Exactly. 100%.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if we look at the triangle on the right hand side, the far right hand side, when you're looking at your chart, this is the emotion center, the solar plexus. Yours is undefined, and we're about 50-50 in this world. So you have to be careful to not get tangled up in other people's emotions. Because if you do, yeah, it's a tough one because
Yeah,
emotions
I
take
do
over
that
your whole
so much.
physical
Yeah.
body. It's
It
really hard.
does.
And half of the
It
world is
does.
the opposite. So we all have
Okay.
something to learn, but it's if it gets too intense, take time alone because you know anger or like sadness and you can feel like this is mine and you can
You're
start
like
to cry.
speaking to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
dying.
know.
I feel like crying now because
I
there's
know.
science. There's science behind understanding
Yeah,
myself. Like my
yeah.
whole life since I was a kid, I'm like too absorbing of other
You're
people's
the
emotions.
empath.
Yes. So it's
100%.
like
You're the
I think it's
sponge.
a gift, but I need to know how to have the
Yes,
boundaries so I don't
boundaries
drain
is
out.
key. Don't
Yeah.
drain out, and that way you can help yourself and you can help the emotional person in question as well. You're going to see the triangle, the far left hand side on your chart. When you're looking at the chart, that's the spleen. That's your wisest organ. And your spleen is your survival, your immune system, basically, right? This is your instincts, your intuition, your taste. And so for you, it's defined. You have a strong immune system. You're very spontaneous. You're highly intuitive. You're meant to live life in the moment. Just make sure to not fear everything because it's an overprotective mechanism, you know, that can be like, well, and then the very bottom square is the root, which is your adrenaline, your stress. It's what processes stress in your life. It's what applies pressure for you to act in life. And yours is colored in, which means that, you know, it's your adrenal glands. You can just be like, yeah, let's just go. You're a bit restless. And so you will
Yeah.
start to see how, as humans, we are a bunch of dichotomies. You don't have sustainable energy, but you have sustainable adrenaline. And so
Yeah.
you could be like, when should I go? When should
Hence
I not go? You know what I mean?
why I've
But
had adrenal fatigue for a lot of my
yes,
20s because I
you
think I
can.
crashed myself out.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
end up
yeah.
exhausting your adrenal glands if
Yeah.
it's not balanced. And so, what's going to guide you through all of these dichotomies that we are as human beings? For you, your wisest organ, your authority that we call it, is your spleen. You're a splenic authority. And so, what does this mean? It means that your decisions come from your instincts and your intuition. They're very fast, they're very quiet, and they're immediate. But because you have
Yes.
a defined mind, you could get lost in your head because the mind is very loud. Do this, pros and cons, and all of that stuff that doesn't work, right? You are just
Yeah,
designed to know in the moment what's right for you. And it's not logical. It's not something you can explain, which the mind wants to explain. You see what I
of
mean?
course. Yeah. So you need to be able to learn to tune it out when, like,
As
listen to
much
your
as possible.
spleen, not
Yes.
your gut, your spleen.
Exactly. I always tell people like when you feel like you're getting a message from your spleen, from your intuition, like literally like write it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that means you're acknowledging it. Like at least in human design, we differentiate between the emotions, the gut, and the intuition. They're three different things for us. And so,
Okay.
yeah,
Let's
the
go through
intu
those. That's really
yeah.
beneficial to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The intuition is the first one that you'll feel. The spleen is the first one you're going to feel because it's your survival mechanism, right? So your instincts are the first thing you're going to feel. It's very quiet. It's almost brushing and whispering the decision. You know what I mean? It's what does it feel like a yes? Does my whole body feel like it's a yes? You know, does this smell good? Does this look good to me? Like, does this sound good to me? That's what the senses are all about. It's all about your senses. You see what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, can you also, just so I can clarify, does that
Yes.
feel like a sense of home? Like, let's say I'm deciding on a new partner for a
Yes.
project or like in a relationship in life
Yes.
for somebody. So when you feel just like a calm happiness, but not
Yes.
adrenaline, nervous excitement, happiness on
Yes.
something, that means your
Exactly.
spleen is talking. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's more of a calm
Exactly.
intuition. Okay.
Exactly. You have to just be aware of like what feels good and what feels right as opposed to what feels off. Whether it's the sound of someone's voice, the vibe
Yeah.
of a place, the smell of something. Like literally, that's as simple as it is for that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Simple, but
Amazing.
not easy because it's quiet and the mind is loud and other people in the
Yeah.
world are loud,
So
right?
you need to really be in tune with yourself
As
and
much as
understand.
possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the gut is because the instincts, they're quiet, they're the first things you feel. They just come once. You can't ask your instincts, or your intuition, like, can you talk to me again? No, it usually comes once. That's why it's, a bit of a tougher one because it's like try as much as possible to not miss it. The gut, it's your lower belly. You can actually tap into it all the time. You can actually ask yes, no, but it's in response to things. So life will throw things to generators, manifesting generators. These are the two types that will have that could be what we call a sacral authority, because that's the sacral. And so their gut will say yes or no. Okay. And it's just in response to things. It's like they're going to feel something. They're going to feel like either they're being pulled towards something or pushed away from it. That's how they
Mm,
know. Or like their body's expanding at the thought of something or it's contracting at the thought of something.
yes.
You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
that,
So it's a
yeah.
difference than the splenic
It's,
is more of a
yeah.
calm knowing versus like a
Yes.
yes or a no pull or
Yes,
push. Yeah.
exactly. And the gut,
Okay.
you can keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. Now, the emotions is the third one. It's what I am, an emotional authority. Yes, emotional authority, you have to wait. So basically, what happens is that life will throw things your way, and then you will feel maybe one day yes towards the decision, and then maybe the next day completely convinced by a no. And so when
Oh
this
no, that's
happens,
hard.
yeah, that's so hard. And so, but I mean, there is a way, of course, to manage it. And it's taken me years, but I'm slowly getting there. But it's definitely when this happens, always wait. Never take a decision when you're very happy, very sad, very angry. Never on the highs and never on the lows. Because emotional authorities were always cycling through these ups and downs emotionally in life. And so eventually our body naturally reaches a plateau. And that's when we have to feel our way into the decision. We will know it's a very calming clarity that resounds in our very being, But there's a process to go through before that. And I always tell people like practice on the small things because the more you practice, of course, with all of these, then the easier it becomes. For me, I would say just have just your energy type and your authority.
Yes.
If you just follow these two things, you will already enter an incredible flow in your life and you will start to attract everything that is meant for you in this life, for your higher self kind of thing. You know?
Amazing.
It is
Yeah.
really as simple as just even doing these two things because then the rest slowly falls into place. You see what I mean? But like we said, your energy type for you as a projector is wait to be invited. You know, for a generator, it's wait to respond. Things will be thrown your way, then you will respond and then you'll get going. You see what I mean? So
Mm,
it's all about following these things because when you do, it's a game changer. Like you will notice a difference. It's not possible that to not notice a difference. You know what I mean?
yes.
Yes, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, how to know you're not on the right track in life, you will feel frustration. If you feel frustrated, you
Yes.
need to change something in your life. And if you feel satisfied, that's how you know you're on the right track. As a projector for you, bitterness is how you know you're not, and success is how you know that you are, you know? So each one of them, like manifestors, it's anger as opposed to peace. You know, reflectors is surprise as opposed to disappointment. Like there are so many ways to, you know, it's giving you that information and all these cues to, okay, am I on the right track? And so it's
Yes.
like, oh, for me, it's a flawless system, you
It's
know?
beautiful that it's like
Yeah.
guide like that. So you
It's
have your
such a
kind
good
of
guide. Yeah.
you have your inner metrics to know, like, am I on
Yeah.
the right path? Do I feel bitter or do I feel
Yeah.
satisfied? You know, or do I
Exactly.
feel
Yeah.
successful? That's for me, for example. So I
Exactly.
think that's really important to
Yeah.
know. And for people to study their own charts because they're so
Yes.
unique. Just
Yes.
don't go off the month. You have to actually put in the date, the time, the
Yes.
birth date. So this is an amazing part of the human design. And I want to look at the other side. So like we
Yeah.
mentioned in the beginning a little bit. So like there will be common misconceptions, of
Yeah.
course. So I want to just clear those up for people who are listening. I'm like, I'm not sure about this still. So let's convince them that they should be sure. But no.
Yes.
So some people say human design is just astrology in disguise. Can you say
Yeah.
why this could be true or false?
Yeah, yeah, I get that a lot. Astrology, like I said, it's just one part. Human design also uses, like we said, the I Ching, Kabbalah, the chakras, quantum mechanics to map how your energy moves. So, like we said, it's like astrology evolved into a body-based system. And it's just like this multi-layered map. So astrology will explain what's happening, but human design explains how it actually works through you. So it really
Mm-hmm.
is like it does include astrology, but it is not just astrology. You know what I
It's
mean?
to me, it sounds like it's a more personalized integration
Yes,
to
very
interact
much
with the
so.
world and
Yeah.
energies around you.
Yes.
Another one I hear is that when you know your type, you feel limited. You kind of feel boxed into like, I'm a
Mm.
projector. And if I ever try to, let's say, not be invited, but instead go get something, it's going to hit
Yeah.
me in the face. How can
Yeah.
I go around that?
Well, it's a common misconception. I think it's actually the opposite. For me, human design isn't meant to limit you. It's actually here to free you from conditioning. And it can seem like it boxes you a lot, but I always say like life experience and energy has taught me that you can transcend your whole chart if you choose to. You are not bound to anything in this life. And so it's just about knowing what cards were you dealt with at birth, because that's kind of helpful, to be honest, in my view. And then you know how to work with that to reach your fullest potential. Because when you work with your design instead of against it, you actually then expand your freedom. So it's not about what you can't do, it's about how to do then things in a way that feel more authentic and sustainable to you, you know? So it just
Yes.
basically gives you this permission to be who you were meant to be from birth. And that's where actually your
Yes.
expansion happens, you know?
And I think also just with ease, like I don't feel
Yeah.
as much as I'm questioning and fighting and
Of
forcing.
course.
When I just trust the system, I'm like, okay, well, this will work for me because this is my type and this is how I need to go
Exactly.
about it. And I don't even
Exactly.
think about it. It's just like a calm inner knowing at this
Yeah.
point. And I thank my spleen all the time.
Yeah.
So the last one I have is human design is considered a cult.
Yeah.
True or
Definitely
false?
not. Yeah, definitely not. No,
Yes.
no. It is,
Mystical.
yeah, completely.
Yeah.
It's a self-awareness tool. It's not a belief system, you know. There's no worship, there's no hierarchy. It's
Yeah.
simply like a framework for self-awareness, and it's just information that you can experiment with. It's as simple as that. You don't have to believe in it. You can just try it and then see if life feels easier. That's it.
So that's actually a great segue also because another thing that people get worried about is like with these mystical things is like, is this a replacement of religion or a belief system or spirituality in any sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to discuss is like, if you're worried about that, how can we look at this more of a tool? It's like, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
replacing your belief system, right?
No.
So can you use this alongside most of any religious beliefs?
Yes, 100%. Human design doesn't replace faith, nor is it meant to. Like, for example, some people see, I have a lot of clients who are very religious, and a lot of times they will see their design as the way they were intentionally created. Like, oh, like
Yes.
this is how God made me. And so it really helps you live your purpose within your faith, not outside it. That's not the point of it. It's just a tool. So it doesn't tell you what to believe. It just shows you how your energy works, how to live your life with more awareness, and you can still hold any faith. You can still use human design as a tool for understanding yourself and others more deeply and still keep your faith.
Let's go through some three major buckets that we
Yeah.
face in life all the time, which
Mhm.
is really ways for us to not burn out, to flow better with others, to find our true path, and to manifest. So, how about relationships, for
Yeah.
example? What do you say with this? If you know your type and you know the other person's type in front of you,
Yeah.
let's say, especially a spouse, a child, a mother,
Yeah.
how can this help you guys vibe better?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, human design it's my favorite use of it, to be honest, is in relationships because it really teaches you how to stop expecting others to like operate like you. Once you kind of know like your partner's type or your child's type or your mother's type, you realize their behavior makes actually perfect sense. It's just their design. So it really builds a lot of compassion in that sense, a lot of understanding, and just way less friction. You understand, okay, they don't have, sustainable energy. They can't go on, as I do. Like, and this is just the energy type. Like, when you go into the detail of human design and you see how detailed it actually is, it's incredible how much more understanding you will have for that person in front of you.
So that's actually like those kind of things, even for myself, like it gives me
Yeah.
that like pleasant reassurance of like, okay, don't stress. Like this is
Yeah,
just how I am. How about
exactly.
with careers? How can somebody learn about themselves to excel in their career?
It's definitely also a game changer for work, I think, because it shows how, you work best. So whether you're meant to initiate or whether you're meant to collaborate or whether you're meant to guide like generators thrive doing what lights them up. They have, this sustainable energy. They can do the rise and grind 9 to 5. But projectors, they do best when, they're recognized for their insights. So I always tell projectors, like, in 3 hours, you are as effective as the rest of us are in 12. So
Yes.
consultants, that's the best thing for you to do, or sing things that like 3 hours a day, that's about it. Manifestors, they need like freedom to start their own thing. They can't have someone telling them what to do. So all of these things essentially they help you realize what you're meant to do in your life, in which field, let's say, in which position, and that will then help reduce burnout, which we see so much of today, frustration, which we see so much of today. It can increase your productivity and it can actually align you with the right kind of work for your energy, which is vital, to
Yeah,
be
I mean, I
happy.
really see that with my own within my own career, honestly. Like
Yeah.
when I reach this chapter of my life,
Yeah.
doing my own things, but also the work that I do, both in my everyday business, which is selling organic skincare, distributing that to
Yeah.
help people have access to healthier options. But then with this, like if anything can benefit a bigger community than myself,
Yeah.
I find that not only through me, through interviewing guests like you, for
Yeah.
example, I feel like inspiring and helping and guiding is that the least thing we can do as each people in this world. So
100%.
for me, that's what aligns with my projector sense, I
Yeah.
think, after learning
Definitely.
about that, you know?
Definitely.
So it's
100%.
beautiful to know that.
Yeah.
And the last thing is health. How
Yeah.
about health to avoid burnout or to feel
Yeah.
better energetically
Yeah.
every day? How
Yeah.
can you learn about that?
Well, because each energy type has a different rhythm, like projectors need rest, generators need satisfaction, manifestors need freedom, reflectors need time and space. When you honor that rhythm, then your body actually naturally regulates itself and it naturally finds that energetic balance. I've seen clients go from chronic fatigue to feeling completely energized again just by living in sync with their design. Even me, I mean, it started with me because even in my design, I had, like, let's say, full access to willpower all the time, but I also have sustainable energy, but I don't have sustainable access to adrenaline. So it's like that dance between, okay, I used to burn out all the time, because I would just like go, go, go. But then when I realized, oh no, I can actually rest, even as the fastest energy type, there's a lot of things, it's so subtle, but when you listen to your authority, which is what guides you in everything, that's when you learn how to dance between all of these things. And that's what's going to help you prevent burnout and just live a much, much healthier life because you're the only one living in your body. So only you can do that.
I think it's so important to take this all as like a guide into
Yeah,
life rather than a rule book or something
of
limiting.
course.
Because again, like when you're telling me this about, I didn't know about how like I work better for a few hours a day and then I need
Mm.
rest. It makes sense because that is already naturally how I function.
Yeah,
The reason why I'm thriving, I think, as an entrepreneur versus the 9 to 5 is because I was drained in a 9 to 5,
of
because
course.
it's really a 9 to 7, 8. You know what I mean? Like
Even
that's how it was.
worse.
You know how it is in the cubicle and
Yeah.
cold atmosphere. But when I naturally figured that out for myself, but having this reassurance of like, oh, my human design type actually supports this, it gives me
Yeah,
that evidence, because
of
I am
course.
like really into data and evidence and that
Yes,
science side as well. So
I know.
that gives me that reassurance. Like, let me keep going because like
Mm,
this is actually the right
exactly.
path for me. I've never felt
Exactly.
so like at home in my body and my vision with work because I finally think it's aligned with maybe
Yeah,
my purpose. So that's
100%.
the subject of fulfillment for people.
Mhm.
So I want this, hopefully from this episode, for people to kind of go away with, okay, I want to feel fulfilled in my own way, using this as a tool to get there. So do you see fulfillment as a destination we eventually get to, or is it more of like a daily practice?
I always say that the journey is the actual destination in and of itself, but it's definitely for me a daily practice. Like fulfillment isn't a finish line; it's how aligned you feel today, every day. So it's really like about the small daily choices that feel true to who you intrinsically are. You see what I mean? So every time you follow your energy instead of forcing things or listening to the outside world, you're already living fulfillment.
How do you see people starting to take this in schools, into
Yeah, yeah.
institutions? Do you think that this can be beneficial in more of a widespread platform?
100%. I already know that some companies and organizations in the States and in Dubai started using it even a couple of years ago to hire people just because they know exactly like what this person is going to be great at doing. You know what I mean? Like instead of putting everyone in the same box. So that's already one in the workplace. And I think that that's only going to gain momentum, to be honest. And in terms of school, I mean, I hope and I wish and I dream that the school system really finds a way to integrate this because they will understand that the terrible twos are not really a terrible twos kind of thing. Like, I don't have children, fair, so I'm not one to speak, but I do know that not every child operates in the same way. This is for me a human design fact. And so, if someone will burn out and needs a nap, that does not mean that everyone else needs that. And so you could make classes of projectors, you could make classes of manifesting generators, and then later, when they understand how they function, you can mix them all and see how they can help one
Yes.
another. Like, that's for me the beauty of all of this, you know?
That's beautiful. Like I could see super like progressive, earthy
I would love
type of
that.
schools going
Yeah,
for that. Like it's nice
exactly.
in the beginning to teach them that. That's
Yeah,
very
because
interesting to look at.
their children are the rawest form of a human being. They're not conditioned yet. So as much as possible, if you can follow that nature and keep it there, then you're gonna end up having adults that are not as conditioned as maybe a lot of us have been.
I love that. So I think anyone also in HR, when it comes to careers, should consider this if they're listening.
Yes.
Look at it. Ask for what is your human design type in the interview,
Exactly.
because also
100%.
just placing a manager with the employee, potential employee, the
Yeah,
candidate, you want them to vibe, right? Like if they
definitely.
clash, you can maybe
Yeah,
see that from the beginning. So that's actually
100%.
good.
Yeah.
So I want you to fill in the blank as one of the closing questions.
Mhm.
If you try one thing from human design, let it be blank.
It's hard
Just
to
one
say just
thing.
one thing.
I
Okay, if I
know.
have to, I was gonna say two, but if I have
Yes.
to pick
Okay,
just
fine. Tell
one,
us two.
okay,
Tell
thank you,
us two.
thank you.
I'll be
I would
nice.
say yes, your strategy and your authority. So your energy type and how to take your best decisions. Because if you just experiment with those, how you're meant to make your best decisions and how to interact with life, like I said in the beginning, everything else starts to fall into place naturally.
Yes, very good. And where can listeners connect with you? So let's say they're super curious. They
Yes.
want to search up their chart. They can probably find it online initially, right? If they
Yes.
search up their chart.
Yes.
So where can they connect with you if they want a deeper reading?
So they can find me on Instagram. My handle is Caline by Nature. That's where I also share like practical human design insights, tips on how to actually live your design, not just learn about it. And then if they're curious about their chart, I also offer readings and coaching sessions to like help them apply it in like their work, in their relationships, in their well-being. And yeah, and soon enough, I'm going to introduce actually group sessions by energy type, a bit like the school
Oh,
system I just
wow.
mentioned. So
Okay,
if
when you
people are
have projector
interested,
time there.
yes, definitely reach out to me because I'm gathering,
Yeah.
because it's going to be like a limited amount of people per group to not overload, but I'm going to have several of those running.
So, Kenny, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your
Thank
energy
you
with
too,
us.
Judy.
It was beautiful. And our listeners, if you want to connect with her, we will be sharing her handles in the show notes. And yeah, we can't wait to see you next time. Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
so much.
time.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.